The rain lashed against the cobbled streets, drenching the small town in an eerie darkness. Streetlights flickered, their glow barely piercing the heavy mist that rolled in from the sea. It was a night of restless whispers and unseen eyes, a night when the town held its breath, waiting for something, anything, to shatter the uneasy silence. Detective Armand de Souza adjusted the collar of his trench coat, his keen eyes scanning the deserted alleyways as he made his way toward the crime scene. The call had come just after midnight. A body had been found near the old lighthouse, a place infamous for its tragic past. The air smelled of salt and something else, something metallic, something unmistakable. The lighthouse loomed ahead, its paint peeling, windows shattered from years of neglect. A lone officer stood by the entrance, his face pale in the dim glow of his flashlight. "Detective," the officer greeted him, his voice unsteady. "It's not a pleasant sight." Armand nodded, stepping past him. The body lay sprawled on the wet ground, partially covered by the detective's arrival. The victim was a man in his early 40s, dressed in a tattered brown coat. His face was frozen in a silent scream, eyes wide open, reflecting the last thing he had seen before death took him. No blood. No visible wounds. Just fear. Armand crouched beside the body, his mind racing through possibilities. A heart attack? Poison? But then, why here? Why now? Who found him? Armand asked. A fisherman, the officer replied, shifting nervously. Said he saw a shadow move near the lighthouse. When he called out, no one answered, so he came to check. That's when he found the body. Armand frowned. Something didn't add up. The victim's hands were clenched tightly, as if he had been holding onto something before death claimed him. Carefully, Armand pried open the fingers, revealing a small, crumpled piece of paper. A single word was scrawled across it in trembling handwriting: "They are here." A chill ran down Armand's spine. He had encountered strange cases before, but this was different. The town had its fair share of ghost stories, but he never put much stock in them. Yet, the fear etched into the dead man's face was real. Tangible. Taking a deep breath, he rose to his feet. I want a full report on the victim. Who he was, where he came from, and what he was doing here at this hour. The officer nodded, but Armand barely noticed. His gaze was fixed on the lighthouse. Something about the way its shadow stretched across the wet ground unsettled him. He stepped closer, the wooden door creaking as he pushed it open. The interior was cold, damp, the air thick with the scent of mildew. The beam from his flashlight revealed dust-laden furniture, old wooden crates, and cobwebs draping the corners like forgotten curtains. Then he saw it. Footprints in the dust, fresh ones, leading up the spiral staircase. Drawing his gun, Armand followed the trail, his heart hammering against his ribs. Each step echoed in the silence, the creak of old wood protesting beneath his weight. As he neared the top, a faint sound reached his ears, a whisper, just beyond the edge of understanding. He stepped onto the upper platform, the ocean stretching before him in endless darkness. The wind howled through the broken windows, but it wasn't the wind that had spoken. A figure stood at the far end of the platform, half hidden in the shadows. Who's there? Armand demanded, his voice firm. The figure turned slowly, revealing a gaunt face, hollow eyes staring right through him. The man, or whatever he was, smiled, a slow, eerie curl of the lips. "You're too late, detective," the figure said, voice barely above a whisper. "They are already here." Then, before Armand could react, the man stepped backward, right off the edge of the lighthouse. Armand lunged forward, but it was too late. He reached the railing and peered down, expecting to see a broken body on the rocks below. There was nothing. No body. No trace of impact. Only the endless roar of the waves below. A shiver ran through him as he took a step back, his mind struggling to make sense of what he had just witnessed. His fingers tightened around the piece of paper he had taken from the victim. They are here. For the first time in his career, Armand de Souza felt truly afraid. And somewhere in the mist, unseen eyes watched, waiting.